15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto Ron Elvis in the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited about tonight's episode as we approach the regular season. It's going to be here before you know it. Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew. One of the main things that, really has led to the ascension of the Buffalo Bills and the current iteration that we know is QB1, number 17, Josh Allen. So let's talk about Josh tonight. Let's dig into it a little bit. Joining me tonight, as always, my co-host, Riding Shotgun, Adam Dumptruck Rupsick. Holla at him on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. What's good, man? What's up, DT? Holla at him.
What's up? What's up, Nickel City? What's up, Rob? We're back, baby. Good Thursday. Beautiful day. It was a nice, cool week up here in the Rough Buff. It was very cool to start, and now we're kind of cranking up to get ready to go for our weekend. Going to be a beautiful weekend, and less than 2 weeks away, baby. Football's in the air. I was talking to our guest. I won't spill it yet, but talking to our guest pre-show on about summer and just really August is a wash. August is pre-football, right? You're getting ready for fantasy. You're seeing what games you're going to. You're planning out your football year. August really doesn't exist. It's just a plan for the next 6 months of football. So I'm so excited to be back. Football gets me excited. It's like Christmas every year. It's freaking awesome, man. I can't wait to get out there. A lot of questions surrounding this team this year, but ready to get into it tonight. And tis the season, baby. We're about to hit it. It's fall.
Yeah, baby.
Pads about to clap.
I love it. Click, clack, we back. And it's funny because, this show couldn't be more, aptly named, and it couldn't be more aptly timed. We are literally 17 days away from kickoff, Bills against the Arizona Cardinals. So I really couldn't have planned it any better. And I didn't plan it like that on purpose. We were supposed to have him last week. He had obligations. We are so happy to have him this week. The editor-in-chief over at BuffaloFAMBase. Again, the official Bills Mafia podcast network that we simulcast on. Justus General Radford. Holla at the crew, Justus. What's good with you, big man? What's good with you?
What's going on, fellas? Thank you for having me. As always, it's a pleasure. I apologize about last week, but I'm glad to be here today, man.
Absolutely, man. We can't wait to get started. And just a personal shout out again. Shout out to everybody who I saw it on Twitter and Instagram, stuff like that. Shout it out, and even Facebook as well. Wishing me a happy birthday last Saturday. I really appreciate the love from you guys. And Justus made me like a nice little promo thing for BuffaloFAMBase. That touched my heart. So
to be fair, I do want to say that was Jake Jordan. So shout out to Jake Jordan.
Shout out to Jake Jordan. Then I appreciate it. Another trip around the sun. So again, for everybody, I appreciate all the well wishes for my birthday last Saturday. I really do appreciate it. Now that we got that out the way, we have got to get down to business tonight. 17 days away from kickoff. DT, I named the episode the way that I did because QB1 is, such a hot topic, and he's somebody that we all look to. But my guest, his handle, his own Twitter and Instagram handle is at JA17MVP. And he's been, really, holding that torch for him since the beginning. You know what I mean? And I have to give it up to him for that, because in the beginning, when Josh Allen was drafted and it didn't come out as Josh Rosen, I fell to my knees at the bar I was at. I'm going to wing night tonight at Al's, DT, and I fell to my knees like, oh my God, like I cannot believe it. But boy, has he really shown who he really was. And I think that there's a lot of different factors that come in along with that to getting him to the place that he's at now. Like I said, you see him over my shoulder on the Madden cover. J.A., I wanted to get your opinion on this, Justus, because you're one of his biggest torchbearers before we get DT's thoughts. But it was funny. I was just joking with my Kings the other day. We were going school shopping, and I was talking to him about Remember the Titans, and I remember that movie, and it was funny because the new college football game came out, and everybody's talking, and they make these little videos where it's like, we will be perfect in every way, when and they're just pretending that they're talking to their old team and stuff like that, and those just crack me up because I love that game and I love the college football scene. But another line from that movie is an interesting one, and it relates to tonight's episode. Attitude reflects leadership. And, it's important because of the fact that people follow you. And on a 53-man roster with grown men, a lot of them millionaires, and even the veteran minimum is around $1 million. You've got to be a leader from the front, not from the back. And it's interesting because Josh Allen has been called upon to be the leader, and this really is his team. That's why I named the episode the way that I did, Justus.
Yeah, he absolutely is the leader. It's funny you mentioned that. I remember I was watching Infinity War and I saw we traded up to 7. Got Josh Allen. I was pissed. Oh my God, I was mad. I was so mad. And I do want to say that to be fair. But I mean, objectively speaking, if you took names off the board, and you just put straight numbers and facts on the paper and said, this is what this quarterback had to work with. This is what this quarterback had to work with. And these are their numbers. Josh Allen has objectively had been the best quarterback in the league for the past 5 years. So, I mean, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt, right?
Okay.
Because Stephon Diggs was an absolutely phenomenal football player. And I think that he also brought a certain competitiveness that made people want to be better, have to be better. There wasn't no choice in the matter, right?
He demanded it.
Demanding it for sure. And I think that energy will definitely be missed. But at the same time, I do think that these guys have learned how to become winners, learned how to become better leaders. And you got to realize that this is the second most winningest team, only second to literally the greatest dynasty ever. I mean, statistically, the best dynasty ever. This is the only team that's even come close to the winning percentage, the scoring, you know what I mean? So again, you can't just one player. Fair enough. Two wide receivers. I feel like leaving will hurt us, but ultimately, I don't think it will be. It'll just be a bump in the road. I feel like this is a great quarterback with a great offense, and that's going to continue to show.
Well, we'll get into that tonight. Don't jump ahead. You got the notes.
My bad. I'm sorry.
I'm teasing you, man. I'm teasing. We'll get into that. Because I've got some.
I hate when Mookie do that, so
I've got some opinions. I've got some opinions on that. But DT, it's funny that Justus talked about the actual the leadership and Diggs and different things like that. And I know that that's a hot topic. But when I named the episode the way that I did, it was because of the fact that there's really no more excuses, DT, and you've talked about it really since last season. And it's a situation where there's nothing really else that anybody can look in respect to, not even just the offense. I'm talking about the team, because Justus is right that Stephon Diggs did bring a level of competitiveness, and he did bring a level of I'm gonna stay in your ass, that type of thing, and it kind of brought everybody's energy up, and that was really from the moment in the door. And you can't find too many people that are going to badmouth him from Deion Dawkins on down, and the wide receiver room. Nobody really badmouths him on his way out the door. DT. Josh has to be a leader from the front, and I've been calling for it, but you've actually been on it a little bit longer. And I wonder what you think about tonight's episode, because, I named it the way that I did because this is his team. And then nothing even screams it more than that. When I even heard Sean McDermott the other day said, this is Josh Allen's team. And if McDermott is even putting that out there to the media, then it's got to be true for sure.
My line on 1-7's addicting. 1-7's addicting.
That's what you say. That's what you
say.
Say.
Generational. The last 7 years have been such a treat to be able to call him QB1, and and everything that comes with it. Obviously, a few tough shortcomings and can't get over the hump, and deservingly probably could in different eras and different times. Like the poor me Bills drought type of mindset there. Like we finally get a quarterback, and just in time for the Chiefs to have Pat Mahomes and their dynasty to start just when we get, our generational guy, right? But the fact of, which is better here, right? What's better to be a leader in this league amongst men, amongst warriors? Is it kind of getting thrown in and having to be that guy in an organization that is completely, inflamed and into shit, if you will?
Right.
Or is it kind of a longer term, growth process? And Josh played his rookie year. I'm not saying, you got to sit behind a good starter for a couple of years to learn the game and come in like Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes even did, right? But I'm saying the reins weren't given to him his rookie year. There was other talent on the team. There was other leadership in the room, excuse me, to kind of hand that and show him how to lead, right? So I think, what's better, we weren't desperate, and you see this every year with all these teams drafting quarterbacks in the first round, and it's a complete dumpster fire, and it's like, you got to be the guy, and it's a 20-year-old kid that, has to go lead, a bunch of warriors, right? And it sometimes doesn't. You see the confidence just dissipate quick, and they never pan out, and, it could be detrimental to their career and what could have been. I think it's a good buildup of Josh Allen and 1-7 to do this. I don't know if we'll get into Diggs later, right? If that was what was needed for him to be, this leader. But I like that it was a slow buildup, and he's learned what not to do. He's learned what to do. And it seems like he's making the decisions of what to do a lot more than what not to do. There's not a lot of complaints in that department. And I talked about it's my biggest thing, Rob, like this golden retriever energy bullshit. Buffalo media wants to be all about this and loves it. No, Josh, he's like a golden retriever. Like, nah, we need a meaner dog to start coming out.
Yeah.
And be lead from the front with conviction, with passion, with I'm the best player, but you can all be with me, follow these steps. So I think he has built up to the right way to where he needs to be right now. And, I'm comfortable sitting here, year 7 going into, okay, now it's all yours. I think you've studied for the test enough. I'm confident we're going to get a good score here.
It's interesting to say that because, Justus, there was one thing that I wanted to touch on quickly before, because I want to talk about the locker room and really dig into that. But, there was one thing that caught my eye, and I'd mentioned it a couple episodes ago, and DT's already familiar, but, I think it was Tim Graham came out to report that, Terry Pagula had made some comments about, kind of almost like an edict to Sean McDermott and to Brandon Beane that he wanted Josh to start to separate himself from his peers a little bit, and then have more of an executive role. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to play cards, because you hear about training camp and those guys play cards and they go out and they have offensive dinners and different things like that. But it was more along the lines of just there has to be some type of line of delineation. There has to be some type of separation between himself and his peers. And I'm wondering what you thought about that, or even if you heard about that from Tim Graham, because I know Tim had to actually go on Twitter and make some comments and kind of clear some things up, because people had said, well, did Pagula make this edict? And did he say that Josh doesn't need to be a part of the team, or whatever the case may be? And it really wasn't that, but he was trying to come up with a way to at least convey to Josh that he is separate, that he is not the same as the other 52 guys. And I wanted to know if you had picked up on that or heard about that. It was a couple weeks back, but we had talked about it here a couple weeks ago. And I thought that was interesting. It was something that caught my eye.
I didn't hear about that. I do think it's interesting, but I do also believe it's a good problem to have.
Okay.
Your quarterback is one of the fellas. The fellas believe in your quarterback so much that, they feel like he's one of them. And who make the best generals? The guy who the soldiers know, all right, he gonna get his hands dirty. He not sitting up in some throne room, sending us off to die. He's on the front lines with us, battling it out. And who else would give you that type of security other than Josh Allen, who's out there jumping over people and running over linebackers, right?
Absolutely.
Stiff arming, all pro, all galaxy defensive tackles, right? So I feel like it's a good problem to have. I can understand the idea of wanting him to not be so goofy and silly, but also on the same tip, like, if that is who he, I don't think he's that way on game day. You know what I mean? I've seen him in the divisional game. he's on the sideline screaming at people like, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Like he could give you that energy when he needed. And also, I've also heard that Josh Allen is one of the craziest talkers in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he does feel like he's the best player in the world. And I promise you, he'd be telling people that on the field. And his teammates hear that.
Yeah.
So I do think that he brings that type of energy as well. But then to also be a guy who's approachable and who's
like you said, one of the fellas. Like you said, exactly, he has people over his house.
Right. Yeah. So I think that you get the best of both worlds in that case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think we're ever going to see the extreme of, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordan, the Tiger Woods, like that type of psychopath.
Right.
But I think he definitely can get more in that middle realm of getting a little more aggressive and a little more Tom Brady, Peyton Manning-esque, right? When it comes to that type of stuff. Like I don't think he's full on, doing Navy SEAL training like Tiger Woods is, for fun because he likes pain and shit like that.
Right.
I think he definitely has some room to get to the middle. I mean, you were talking about Deion Dawkins and teammates. Deion Dawkins telling stories this offseason of like,
he said,
MJ,
don't talk to my quarterback.
Yeah, I look at my quarterback like MJ, and you don't talk. You shouldn't be talking to him. You
like you don't know that he's Jordan.
Like you're talking to MJ. Yeah. So like,
I love that.
Like that's some shit right there. That one really stuck with me. Like, and we talk about is the team receiving it? Hell yeah. If the team is putting you on the pedal, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Whatever that's a different debate for a different time. But to put him at that level and respect him at that level, it means they're listening to what he's saying. So I guess we'll get into tonight. What's he saying?
Absolutely. I like that for sure. And yes, I loved it when I heard Deion talk about it. Like he said, you don't talk to my quarterback like you don't know that he's Jordan. And like, I mean, I just love everything about Deion Dawkins. I love what he represents. And I know that Justus echoes that as well because he's just a cool cat and he's a real cat. And I mean, you usually go to Justus because I love Deion's energy. Just his energy is what I like. I mean, that's just the way I relate to it. That's all.
It's funny, before DT even brought up Jordan, something he said reminded me of something I thought about earlier, literally today. Where I was like, Josh Allen is literally LeBron James, right?
Okay.
He's the LeBron James of the NFL, right? He, people criticize him, like, not that it's bad to be like that Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan psychopath, right?
Right.
But LeBron never was that, you know what I mean? And people always criticize him for it.
He's a connector.
And Right. He's a communicator. He's a you know what I mean? And he still ended up becoming a great leader. And I was like, that reminds me so much of Josh Allen. And not only that, but LeBron does everything on the court, right?
Right.
Assists, points, rebounds, steals, blocks. Like he does it all. Right. And his teammates have a habit of staring at greatness and kind of just stopping their feet on the floor and just watching him go. I feel like the Bills have a habit of doing that sometimes too. We're just like, oh my God, he just made that play. And you're on the field, buddy. Like, come on, like, you know what I'm saying? Help him out. Yeah. And it's like, I just see a lot of parallels between Josh Allen and Josh Allen and LeBron James. So it's funny he said that, and I'm sorry, I just wanted to bring it up.
No, don't apologize. That's cool because I just read an article the other day about Steve McNair on ESPN and about how his teammates did exactly what you're talking about. They would catch themselves literally at Alcorn State in Mississippi just watching him play, and then they wouldn't even be paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing because the greatness was just on full display. So I like that comparison. Absolutely, he is a lot like LeBron because LeBron is one of the guys that could lead the league in scoring or he could lead the league in assists on any given season if he felt like it. It's just what he feels like doing at that time. And I think that Josh is capable as well. So as we transition, again, over 300 people watching us on all platforms. We appreciate the crew, Bills Mafia, joining us tonight. Again, tonight's episode and all episodes are presented by 26 Shirts here on Buffalo Fanbase, the official Bills Mafia podcast network. Again, head on over to 26shirts.com for all of your latest Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo City themed t-shirts. They've got great content creators. And again, portions of the proceeds go to families in need. So there's not going to be any type of wasted money where you're giving it to somebody lining their pockets. You're giving it to people that really are in need, that need it. So head on over to 26shirts.com. Now, as we transition, this is one of my favorite topics because of the fact that I have to be careful now, Justus, because I've been put on an edict a couple weeks ago by by DT, my partner, and I don't want to fight him all the time because he says that this is getting ready to be time to stop talking about 14. So I'm going to do it in a roundabout way, so that way DT and I can stay friends, and then he's not going to get mad at me. One of the things that I've noticed throughout this offseason, and this has been consistent since the beginning, I'm talking about since spring ball, they want to talk about, the locker room is just so much more free, and everybody's looser, and everybody's chilling. There's a brotherhood, all this different types of stuff. To me, it bothers me, but it's okay. And I let it go a lot of this summer as well, because I hear it on WGR all of the time. Oh, Josh is playing freer, or oh, Josh is looser. It's almost a backhanded way of saying Stephon Diggs is not here anymore. Everybody's buttholes ain't tight no more. Everybody gets a chance to just kind of loosen up. That's cool. It just better work. Did 14 suck the air out of that locker room? Because what I'm hearing lately is that, everything is just so much more free. And Sean McDermott even says in his press conference, I just love the collaboration, and I love the wide receiver room and the unselfishness and all these other code words. And again, I have to stay on brand for Nickel City Crew because my listeners know who I am, and they know the type of person that I am in respects to defending Stephon Diggs. So again, I won't mention 14 anymore, but did he kind of suck the energy out of the locker room? Because all I hear all offseason since the spring is that everything is just so much more free. Everybody's just so much more loose. Okay, it better work.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think something had to give, right? It wasn't just 1-4. I mean, we did a whole revamp of a lot of different things, of a lot of players, of a lot of schemes, of a lot of personnel. It's kind of a new team, if you will. The core is the core, and it's a new team everywhere around. So it had to come to a head of every year, not making it to the big one. And, was it a failure? Was it a failure? Like you can't do that for 12 years in a row. Like eventually you got to set the tone, reset the vibe, reset the structure, and if it is, free flowing or whatever it is this offseason, to get them to do that, as opposed to the past couple of years where it's been, okay, nothing matters until we get back and we got to win that big game, which in the end, that is all that matters.
That's the goal.
I do like kind of the change of vibe and atmosphere, because they're changing it up. What we've been doing, what we talked about with 1-4 all this time was we can't, what his biggest thing was, can't just run it back, right? Can't just run it back. And so they're in their way, doing their own way of, getting better, but not just running it back and doing everything that they've been, doing. And insanity defined is doing something over and over again, expecting different results. So I like the change up. I like the mood swing. But I'll tell you, obviously from experience, it doesn't matter how loosey-goosey it is. You go in here and get bopped on week 1 against an Arizona team, that shit tightens right back up. The media, the fans, that loosey-goosey shit goes directly out the window immediately. That's right. So I'm not worried that it's going to dig into the, we're too relaxed, because they know if it happens once, we're right back into serious mode, right? So I like the way we're changing things up, because we're not doing the same thing as we've been doing, but they also, I think the team knows it will get more serious than you want it to get if you fuck around, right? So this is we'll ride it for now. I'll say that we'll ride it for now.
Justice General Radford, our guest tonight, our resident Josh Allen expert. Please, you have the floor, because that's why I brought you on the show tonight. Talk about Josh, because listen, I hear it, and I'm not lying. Am I making it up? If I'm making it up, then call me a liar, Justice. But I've heard, I hear it a bunch of different ways, that everything is just looser and everything is just a little bit more freer in that locker room. And I think it's code for something else, and that's fine. It just better work.
I feel like it's a double-sided, blade, just like anything, right? Okay. Josh Allen being one of the fellas it sounds amazing until the fellas, maybe don't have the respect they should for Josh Allen. I'm not saying that they don't, right. You know what I'm saying? But you run the risk of that happening, right? Right. Just like having that, infectious energy and hype and leadership, you get the other end of that, which is like you know, if you do something wrong, is mom about to beat the shit out of me right now? You know what I mean? Like you get that anxiety, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like
I grew up with that.
You're right. Yeah, we all, you know what I'm saying? So like I you know, not having, you know, that around, right? So now you kind of in the college dorm room on your own, ain't nobody there to yell at you if you do something wrong, you know what I mean? Like, and if you are if you're a well-raised child and or a well-coached team, then that won't be a problem. Not having a disciplinary, you know, person to that, you know, aggressive nature won't be a problem. You know what I mean? You then that almost became abuse, right? However,
I understand.
If you are a potentially problematic person and you needed that tough love in order to get you going, in order to make you, you know, do better, then you needed that. You know what I'm saying? You needed that. And if you lose that, now you're gonna fall off the wagon, right?
You're right.
So
yeah, you're speaking the truth.
We'll see, you know, which team the Bills are. They I mean, from the outside looking in, it seems to be they are a well-coached team. They were starting to do well before Diggs even got there. So you have to imagine, or at least hope, that a lot of that was coaching, which
it took off when he came, though. I mean,
no. I'm not doubting that at all. I'm just simply talking about they were one thing one year, and then the coaching helped them become better the next year.
Absolutely.
So I was just speaking
McDermott
to the incline that was already happening.
Absolutely.
Diggs obviously made him you know what I mean, out the stratosphere.
I understand.
100%.
I don't want DT to get mad at me. I won't interrupt you. My bad.
No, so you know, we'll see what type of team the Bills are. If they're a well-coached team that really didn't need all that extra, you know what I'm saying? And now people's, you know, aren't clinching, or we'll see if they needed that and they lost they edge and they spark and you know what I'm saying? We'll see.
All right. Well, I stand. I mean, I'll stand down on that. I just, you know, I heard it. It was a narrative. I know I'm not making it up, and DT heard it as well. And you can hear it in different press conferences from Sean McDermott on down that you know, in the locker room this and the locker room that, and unselfishness and different things like that. I hear a lot of different code words, and that's fine. I would like it to work, and that's fine. Now, one of the ways it is going to work is for our next topic, and as we transition, is who in the ham sandwich, as my father would say, rest in peace, is Josh Allen throwing to. Justus General, I kind of went off last week with this whole everybody eats, and it was getting on my nerves, and it was a situation where I really just it was a couple episodes ago, and I wasn't really with it. We had on Jay Spence the King, and we tried to chop it up, we tried to talk about it, and I'm still not really comfortable with it, but Everybody Eats is getting ready to get the ultimate test, because what this really says, regardless if it's about 14, regardless if it's about the cap or a combination of the both, or you know, the locker room, if it's just a combination of everything, for whatever reason, this is what they chose. This is what everybody wanted to go after in respects to Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott in this approach. It better work, because now you're looking at is Josh Allen ready to be the elevator man? Is he ready to lift, you know, the tide that lifts all boats? Is he ready to be that type of guy? In your opinion, I know that you love him. I know that you're biased towards him, and that's fine. And we love the Josh Allen love here at Nickel City Crew, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it, because Everybody Eats is about to get the ultimate test, because you know, you've got a bunch of C's and B minuses and different things like that, and it really is on your quarterback to raise the level. Tom Brady didn't always have Randy Moss, and he won Super Bowls. And actually, ironically, he didn't win a Super Bowl when he had Moss.
Randy Moss, right,
I mean, so that's ironic within itself. But I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Do you love 17? And I'm not hating on you for that. I love 17, but you love him on a different level. Is Josh Allen ready to show everybody that he is the elevator man? You have to raise up the level of play if you have subpar weapons. You do. I'm sorry. And or average weapons. I don't want to say subpar and then get everybody in Bills Mafia mad at me. Average at best. I'm sorry. But outside of Kincaid, average wide receiver room. I think and ESPN just ranked all the position groups. Their wide receiver room was third from the bottom. It was like only better than New England and one other team. So,
first of all, Josh Allen is the moon. Okay, he raises all tides. Okay,
I love it.
The ocean moves when Josh Allen moves. Okay, so here's the thing: Josh Allen had the best wide receiver in Bills history, bar none. Andre, no, let me not do that.
Yeah. Andre, Eric Andre, Eric,
Andre Reed is a
they
legend,
all in the.
I'm sorry I even did that, but
I love
Stephon Diggs is the best receiver in Bills history, and that's just the truth of the matter.
That's an opinion, and I mean, a lot of people would agree.
And even having him, a lot of times Josh Allen had to improvise and basically do it himself. I mean, of course, not do it himself because it's a team game.
I know what you mean.
He has to play of the scheme so often, it's like second nature to him at this point.
Okay.
So, I mean, everybody eats sounds bad, but the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl and everybody eats. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, so you get.
I should have had you on for the offensive buffet. Yeah.
So you get a player who is already used to playing above the scheme, already used to having to do extra anyway. That's just his comfort zone at this point. Now you have, instead of one really good receiver and then a bunch of
right,
you get a couple good receivers and then some decent ones or whatever. And you get two really good tight ends, you get a really good running back, you have a damn good offensive line that's been kind of proving themselves a little bit. So, well, not in the preseason, but we don't hold the preseason against them.
Yeah, don't talk offensive line around DT. That's his hot button issue.
We'll see what happens week one. But Josh Allen is used to playing above the scheme, so I have to believe that this won't be too much different for him.
Yeah. There's no. I mean, put all the roses away that everybody eats, whatever. Josh Allen's going to have to play the season of his life for the Bills to be competitive this year. There's no ifs and buts about it. But as Justus was saying, he has played the season of his life every year up until now. It's not like he's playing mediocre ass seasons. His seasons are statistically, other than year one. Well, not year one, year two, when they made the playoffs and go 10-6 and lose to Houston. After that, statistically, we're almost identical in statistics. So he has played up to the scheme. Obviously, did have Stephon Diggs all those years, did have Gabe Davis all those years. So he's going to have to definitely up his game. And like everybody eats, all that doesn't just mean it's going to work. Josh Allen has to make it work and get everybody to eat. So there's so much more on his plate as we talk about, and the pressure of him, but they're giving it to him knowing and thinking he's ready, and he's taking it saying he's ready. I mean, I don't think he would say, nah, I don't think I'm ready to be a top tier, a leader in this league. Obviously he's ready for it, but he's going to have to play literally the best season of his career this year for the Bills to have a chance. Straight up.
Interesting. I mean, what happens? Okay, so where's that crowd then? Maybe you guys are not in that crowd. What happens to the crowd that always says, "Well, we have to take more off of Josh Allen's plate"? Listen, I'm searching for that feeling again. You know what feeling I'm searching for? I'm searching for an offensive coordinator who was completely competent, getting the best out of 17. I'm searching for 14, who's flanked out by number 1, Emmanuel Sanders. And then all of a sudden there's another option, Gabe Davis. And then there's another option. I'm looking for Dawson Knox, who was coming into his own at that time. I'm looking to get back to that feeling of 13 seconds because that was the team, in my opinion, that had the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. I argue with people on Twitter. It seems like every other day that might have been our best opportunity to win the Super Bowl. And then when they want to go back at me about McDermott, this and that, and then we can go back and forth all day. I'm searching for that feeling again. That's what I want to get back to. And to me, I always want to surround him with the most talent as possible. Now, again, I can give credit to the fact that give credence to the fact that maybe it was a little bit of salary cap, a little bit of Diggs was upset, a little bit of we need to reset. Brandon Beane spoke about it. We talked about it, DT, how Brandon Beane even said that it was important to get guys that were removed from 13 seconds because he didn't want to have that type of stuff lingering. We did an entire episode on that. So I understand all of those things and they have their merit. But to me,
ask you a question real quick, Rob.
Go ahead.
Why don't you feel like last year was a prime year for us to win a Super Bowl?
Last year?
Yeah,
I felt that way until the shit started. Until we were 6-6, and me and DT were doing.
No. But we were the hottest team in the NFL going into the playoffs.
Because of the opponent. I I was not outwardly optimistic about the divisional round game. Now I was there with DT. We went to breakfast.
Why did we lose to that opponent?
Excuse me?
Why did we lose to that opponent?
Everybody's going to say injuries, right? Everybody's going to say injuries. No? Why? So why did we lose to that opponent?
They're going to point to a specific play.
Oh, please
don't tell me. A large part.
Please don't tell me about that drop. That drop didn't even. He wasn't even going to score on that play. We still have to finish.
It doesn't matter.
We still have to finish that drive.
You clear 50% of the field.
Oh, please!
With 4 extra minutes on the clock.
Please don't start. Are you serious? You're one of those people that I fight with on Twitter.
I'm dead serious.
So the Stephon Diggs drop cost us that game. Not the injured linebacker.
No. I'm not.
We gave up 8 explosive plays that day.
It was certainly a large part of the drop, though. It changed the game. It changed the dynamic.
He was not scoring a touchdown on that play. He was going to
Tyler
fall on
Bass
that play.
missed that field goal, and we don't have any time on the clock because we had to drive the rest of the way down the field because he dropped that pass.
Wow,
that's what happened.
I know we dropped the ball, but we still have to finish that drive.
All right. But there's we
still have to finish that drive.
There's Chris Jones getting.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not a monolithic person. That's a large part of why it happened. You can't say that our window is closed and then directly be a part of the reason we lose.
Ooh. That's a hard one for me to swallow. I'm sorry. That was a big drop. I understand it was a big drop. But I didn't say that it helped. No, it didn't help. I understand that it didn't help. It was a big drop. But I can't put that on him. 8 explosive plays, 8 plays. We couldn't stop Pat all day. Even though they were running that stupid-ass offense where they're trying to control the clock and limit possessions. Every time he got on the field, he was burning us. 8 explosive plays in the game is not supposed to happen. You play football, Justus. That's a lot. 8 plays of 20 yards or more? I don't know, man. I know that Bills Mafia loved to hate on 14 after it was over, and all they want to do is show gifts of that drop. I don't think that drop lost the game. We still have to finish that drive.
But like, if you're out here saying like Anthony Edwards, let's say Anthony Edwards missed the game-winning shot because he talked so much, you're gonna be like, yo, you talking all the why is you the one out here messing up?
Okay. He's not a cyborg, but okay. This is not going to be a Stephon Diggs defense episode because we've already done that.
But see what we was talking about when we was talking about if Mama going to whoop me or not, right? So everybody else, when they mess up, they butt clench because they're like, "Oh God, am I about to get reprimanded right now?" You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay. I don't. I wouldn't put that drop on the game, but yes, it was a monumental drop. It was a big drop. DT, you could try to save this because if you want, but I mean, I don't want to just fight Justus all night about that drop.
Yeah,
I understand. I understand his premise. He was not going to score on that play. Is my point. So he was going to fall, and we had to finish the drive. So what did Josh throws a pick next play? Then what? So I mean, and it wasn't targeted to Stephon Diggs. Then what?
And Chris Jones getting blown into him. The defense not stopping shit. The Tyler Bass
explosive, right? But my point wasn't stopping anything. If he catches that pass, there's an extra 4 minutes on the clock for us to get the ball back. That's what I'm saying. It's a huge part of the game. What I'm saying.
You still have to get the ball back to Mahomes, though.
Right, but if he scores, now you have time on the clock.
But I mean, if I'm going on my cardinal sin here, we're talking about Stephon Diggs, but I mean, if I'm critical, I'm not. I mean, yes, the drop didn't help, and it sucks that it's so up in front and posterized.
It was a big
but
drop.
If I'm being critical of 1-4, it's not that catch. It's the last half of the season of productivity. That's where I'm critical of him last year. Not dropping.
I blame Brady. So I got a rebuttal for that. I blame Brady.
So I mean, but I'm saying if I'm picking one of those two, it's production over that catch.
Y'all know how to get under my skin, man. Y'all know how to get under my skin. I mean, y'all know how to get under my skin.
The same way you critical of Josh, Rob, we allowed to be critical of stuff.
Big drop.
I just say he's the best player in Bills history. Come on, bro. You can't be mad and say he dropped the pass. It was a huge drop.
Big drop. Changed the complexion of the game. Absolutely. At that point in time, there was no guarantee that he's scoring on that play. And we gave up 8 explosive plays that day. They had our number that day because of the injury. So I don't think.
But your point, I think, Justus, are you trying to say basically that drop? Not that it cost us the game, but what's the accountability? What's the accountability of that drop? Right? Is it just him, going over the sideline like, yeah, I dropped it, or if somebody else drops
he
back,
did this, but it didn't mean that Josh missed it. He did this, meaning that
no,
it was this close.
So here's the accountability portion of the drop, right? This is the end of the season. This is the biggest game of your season so far, right?
Right.
You want to make it to the next game, which will then become the biggest game. But this is the biggest game of your season so far.
Correct.
This is a dynasty, like we just mentioned. Okay. This is the team. This is the team you can't do that against, right? Because they're gonna make you pay for every mistake.
Okay,
right?
I'm with you still.
This is the fourth quarter of a game.
Okay,
with 6-7 minutes left, something like that.
7 and change.
Right.
Okay.
So if you can take up 50 to 60% of the field on one play, that dramatically changes your probability of winning. Because not only do you now put yourself in a better position to score quicker, if they score, you now get the chance to score last. Unless they bleed the clock. Drive down the field, you know what I mean? And now you wasted up that 5-6 minutes, and now your bum ass. I'm sorry.
No, I understand. I mean,
the bum kicker is a bum and bumming it out in Bumville. And now,
but then everybody in Bills Mafia wants to tell me that even if Bass kicked it, that they were going to lose the game anyway because Mahomes is getting ready to get the ball.
The Bills played the Chiefs earlier in that season. Patrick Mahomes had a chance to win on the last drive. Guess what he didn't do?
He didn't win because of an offsides. So I don't puff out my chest over that game. I don't. I know he didn't win, but I don't puff my chest out. 4 chances
to score after that offsides, and he still didn't win.
Yeah. So I guess. I mean, I'm in a situation where I'm wondering who he's getting ready to throw to, and I'm just wondering if everybody understands that he has to raise the level of play for others around him. And as we begin to wrap up tonight on my last topic is that, just because of the fact that, I guess it's fair to ask then, since you've already segued into it for me, Justus, what are the expectations that you have for this team this year? Because, I confessed to Nickel City Crew. I told DT that I expect a 10-7 year. I expect maybe that's good enough to win the division. Maybe it's not. Just get into the playoffs, wild card if need be, and then go from there. My expectations are not on Super Bowl this year because of the fact that we lost all the pieces that we did. Now, again, it's chiefly 14, but there's other pieces as well. I understand that the safeties were a little bit longer in the tooth, so a lot of people like to say, well, really, what were you losing? And I understand that sentiment. Even before the Milano injury, people want to say, well, Morris, this and that, he's probably one of the only ones that you're losing, but, this team looks roughly the same. I even heard that this morning on WGR. So I can go with that sentiment outside of the wide receiver room, but the wide receiver room spooks me. So because of that, what are your expectations for this team for the 2024 Buffalo Bills? Because I love how you talked about how Josh Allen has to put the cape on, but I hear an awful lot of people, not you, but an awful lot of people in Bills Mafia that say, oh, we need to take less. We need to take more off of Josh Allen's play. He does too much. He puts the cape on too much. And I don't know how you do that with the wide receiver room that we have. Dalton Kincaid aside, unless Dalton Kincaid is the next coming of Antonio, Anthony Gonzalez or whatever his name is. Like, I don't know. Tony Gonzalez, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we do it. I don't know. Not with this wide receiver room. Not with a bunch of C's.
If you were, I wouldn't say that the wide receiver room would be the piece that would take so much off of Josh's plate, because no matter who's the wide receiver on the field, he has to hit the ball there. Right. Okay. He has to see them be open, and he has to make that play no matter who it is on. I don't care if it's prime AJ Brown right there.
But we have confidence in that. You just said he's been the best quarterback in the league the last 5 years.
So, right. But I feel like the run game is what takes pressure off Josh, right? You got James Cook, who was a top 5 running back in the league last year. You got an offensive line who has another year. Obviously, you lose Mitch Morse, which is huge. I don't want to understate that. Right. But they have basically another year of continuity.
4 out of 5 starters are back.
For the most part, right. So I feel like that is what takes pressure off Josh, because if he has a reliable run game that can give him 4 or 5 yards to carry, then that opens up the door for so much else. And I do think Khalil Shakir can actually give you like wide receiver number 1 numbers. I'm not going to lie. I see him having 100+ catches, maybe going for a band. I really do.
Really?
I do. I like Shakir. I really do.
Wow. On the outside,
from what I've seen, and Josh Allen specific, even going back to the end of last year, he was putting on. Okay. Khalil Shakir was putting on.
Primarily from the slot or on the outside, or it doesn't matter?
Hey, Cooper Kupp did it from wherever. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So Puka Nacua do it from wherever. So I feel like the X factor in this equation, and plus, like I said, Dalton Kincaid, and don't sleep on Dawson Knox either. I feel like the X factor is Keon Coleman, because he's the only one who we don't know where we're going to get anything from, right? He could be the next Justin Jefferson. He could be the next Marquez Vanley Skill, whatever the hell his name is. You know what I mean? So we don't really know, right? And I feel like that's where you kind of get your X factor. Curtis Samuel is going to come in and be a positive no matter what, because he can do so many different things from so many different places on the field.
Okay.
He spreads out the field dramatically. I just,
so you expect this offense not to skip a beat. This is
it depends. It depends on Joe Brady. It really does. Depends on Brady.
Yeah.
If he's creative enough to make it happen, it can happen. Sean McVay will go crazy with this offense. Kyle Shanahan will go insane with this offense.
These
I'm
receivers
are.
I'm
go
not
ahead,
there.
I'm not there. I think this room's a little unacceptable. I think it is what it is. You got to bite. You got to bite what you got to bite. But 11-6 gets you the 2 seed last year. And I'm not hoping to just get in, but 11-6 with a 2 seed in a stat conference. Even if things go a little more south than that, you still got a chance to get in. And Josh Allen playoff time is definitely somebody I want on my team, right? So
absolutely,
this I don't love the receiving room. Like you said, you don't know what you're going to get from anybody, even Shakir.
I mean, he just gave his list of what he expects.
I feel like Coleman's the only one I don't know what I'm going to get from.
But we talked about, we know what we need, right? And we talked about this coming up. Like, we don't know what we're going to get, but we definitely know what we need. So if everyone can rise up a little bit, as I did and kind of broke down that incremental increase episode where we went through everybody on the team, and I thought it was very conservative, doable numbers to get to, it kind of fills the voids to get Josh Allen to 4,200 yards, 37 touchdowns, that year-on-year pace where he's a top quarterback in the league, and we're in the 1 seed conversation. Okay. So we don't know what we're going to get, but we know what we need. So as I talked, in previous weeks of like this, if worst case scenario, and I don't want this to happen, but worst case scenario, all this goes to shit because we don't have the horses to run. We know what we need. We know we need horses. If this works, and then that's even opens it to a bigger opening. Like, okay, now we literally can do it with anybody. So I think worst case scenario, we know what the answer is. It's going to be black or white, straight up. This is what we need. This is what we don't need. And then we'll know moving forward. And we're going to be successful with it. And it's going to take a lot of pressure off. And that might be like Bean saying, damn, we never have to pay a receiver again. Or it's going to be, yeah, screw this. We gotta go get somebody right now. We got to go put 40 mil on a wideout right now. So Josh Allen has to elevate.
2024. I mean, that's not happening.
Josh Allen has to elevate. No, that's what I'm saying. Next year.
Yeah, next year it is.
Oh, next year.
But we'll have our answer. We don't know what we're going to get, but we know what we need. And if we don't get that, we just got to go out and get what we need. So I like the clarity of it all, but I don't want to sacrifice the season and not get there. But at the same time, 11-6 is the 2 seed last year. Sneak in, I'm okay.
Justus seems like he knows. He seems to know. I mean, I liked Curtis Samuel. I thought that he was a piece that never played with a good quarterback. We talked about him on our offensive buffet episode covering the offense. Shakir, I liked him. Obviously, they chose to throw to him instead of 14. That was Joe Brady. That's what I blame it on. I don't blame it on any type of deterioration with 14 at the back end of last year. So maybe you're right on that. You're right about Keon Coleman. He's definitely an X factor. We don't know what we're going to get from him. Nothing else excites me about it, about the room. MVS, no. Claypool goes to IR. I wasn't even counting on him making the team. So you seem to be a little bit more optimistic about the actual wide receiver room itself, and that's fine. I run into a lot of Bills Mafia members that are that way. I see a bunch of C's and maybe some B minuses, and okay. I mean, it could work, and maybe, like you said, Josh Allen is the moon, so he's going to rise all tides, and the ocean doesn't even operate without him. And maybe you're absolutely right. I don't know. I just thought that it was curious, and I wanted to get into it tonight about the expectations for the year. So as we wrap up tonight, just Justus, you are expecting everything to just click just fine in respects to the offense. There's nothing other than that. 17 he's got our back. He's got it, and if he has to put on the Superman cape, he could do that too. Because he's done it, and you're right about that.
Too,
yeah.
So before I go, I just want to leave y'all with something. Okay.
Okay.
This is a draft analysis
Okay.
For Justin Jefferson, a quarterback's best friend, with contested catch focus and extreme ball skills to boost completion percentages.
Okay.
He failed to stand out as an outside target.
Okay. Are you trying
but
to
saw his stock soar in the slot with a monster season. He has decent speed and separation talent, but needs to improve as a route runner.
Okay. Oh, Keon Coleman. Okay.
I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, they said he can't create separation. He's only caught 2 balls in the preseason. It's preseason. Who cares? I hear that. So, I mean,
and they didn't bring him in to be a B. They brought him in to be Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs.
Maybe I mean, I just think that's a lot to put on his plate. Yeah, I think that's a lot.
No. I'm not putting. I'm just saying.
He's drafted.
They said a lot of the same things about Justin Jefferson before he's
drafted to be Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs. I'm not expecting him to do that this year, but they drafted him to be that. Like straight up, they're not drafting him to be a role player. They're drafting him to be Justin Jefferson or Stephon Diggs.
Well, then why did everybody in the pre-draft talk about separation as an issue, Justus? Because that's all I heard about Keon Coleman was that he can't separate. That was the argument the night he was drafted on Twitter, and you were part of it.
Not I feel like they kind of hedged their bets with. I don't think they expected him to be a Justin Jefferson or Stephon Diggs because they traded back to the second round, didn't take that extra year. So I think that was kind of proof that they wanted him to be a part of a conglomerate team, a conglomerate. Thank you. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
that's just my opinion.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I have noticed about Josh Allen throughout the years is that the number one thing that I get hit with when I go to the barbershop. And this is funny because I'm going this Saturday, get the Kings their haircuts before school starts next week. The number one thing I hear from the owner, and everybody knows I'm the Buffalo Bills guy. They know I got the podcast. Number one thing I hear when I walk in the door, and if it's after a loss or if it's after a win. Your quarterback, he be doing everything. He do too much. You got to do too much. Now I heard that after the Jets game, week 1, and then I heard it, on positive games when we lit up Miami a couple weeks later. And I'm like, what y'all got to say? What y'all got to say about my quarterback now this week? So I do know that he has the ability to put on the cape. I guess that's just I'm revealing my true colors. I thought that our offense was the most potent back at 13 seconds. I thought that those options that he had at his disposal with Beasley, Sanders, Diggs, Knox, I thought that we were untouchable. And even Gabe Davis, the number 4 wide receiver, has a career night because they're paying so much attention to 14. And Sean McDermott wasted away. And I want that back. I want all the weapons for Josh Allen. I just feel like there's a chance that we threw this prime year into the volcano. I'm not okay with that shit.
I'm with you,
Justin, you can tell me all day that he gonna be Superman, and I'm just not okay with all these C options when I can win a Lombardi any year he's on the team if I surround him properly. Yeah. I truly believe that.
I'm with you there. The goal is to get back to potent, to get back to unstoppable, to get back to layup lines, right?
Yes.
And the vibe right now is not that.
Oh,
positive or not.
No problem.
Positive or not. It's not that.
Seen the offense take the field yet, so I don't know.
I agree. But I'm saying the vibe. The take on this is we're not the preseason Super Bowl favorites like we have been the past 3 years. The vibe is not, I agree. The goal is to get back potent. And it seemed like, definitely seemed like we didn't get there yet. But we still got a kick.
Davius White, Matt Milano, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde,
Mitch
have
Morse
all missed significant time in the last couple of years.
Oh no,
and
you're absolutely right.
The only real difference of our team, there's significant difference that we haven't had to face recently is Stephon Diggs being gone. It's the only real difference for
I like it. I mean, hey, I'm with you. I mean, yes, the wide receiver room.
Huge.
I think it's the wide receiver room as an entirety. I think that they churned it over. Gabe Davis gone, Stephon Diggs gone. You know what I mean? They changed over the room. You know what I mean?
Y'all hyping Gabe Davis.
I got to draft.
Oh no, I didn't think that it was a big deal.
I got to draft Mac Hollins in the last round of my fantasy drafts now because he might be getting burned.
But Justus is not going to get here already and tell us that Mac Hollins is an important guy.
Deontay Hardy got burned last year. What? So
okay, not really.
Okay. I think Mac Hollins will get the same burn Deontay Hardy got last season. So that is.
Okay.
Man,
Okay.
birds
Hey,
and
listen,
movies.
we can agree to disagree. And one thing that Justice said that is correct, is for sure, is that we haven't played a game yet. So we have no idea. We are still searching for answers on what Joe Brady and his offense is going to look like. This is his first year running the offense, like we talked about before at nauseum. He was running Ken Dorsey's offense or a version of it last year in that second half when he picked up after that Denver game. So we'll see. All eyes on the offense, and all eyes will be on Josh Allen. He needs to be a leader from the front. I think that we can all agree on that. I think that we can all agree on the fact that he is the leader of the team, and they do look to him. I think that is clear. They love him, and the players respond to him. And I think that it's I think that we all can agree as we close tonight that this is a pivotal year for his legacy. And can we agree on that?
Nope.
Okay, Justice. No,
nope.
Correct me.
It's a pivotal year for Sean McDermott's legacy.
Yeah, I just don't. I think the Pagulas love him too much that I can't do anything to get rid of this dude.
If they say
I need
this
another
year's a
13
disaster,
seconds to get rid of him. Like
say this year's a disaster, we don't play well. Josh Allen, doesn't play great, and we miss the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not less confident in Josh next year. So, yes, it's pivotal, but
I said for his legacy. I said legacy because everybody wants to tell me that he can rise, and Justus just told us that he's the moon.
Yeah, no, that's
he's supposed to. He just told me that Kansas City won without, even though they had the number one defense, they won without.
If he has a shit, if he's terrible, then yeah.
Not
but
terrible.
if he's good to great, then he'll be fine.
Take
it to the bank, as they would say. You can take that to the bank. Then
he needs more. He needs more.
I'm just speaking to his legacy. I think he'll be better than great, but I'm just speaking to his legacy. Like if he has a good year this year where he throws for 30 touchdowns, you know what I mean? Like nothing will happen to his legacy.
Okay.
He'll still be one of the best quarterbacks.
Okay. I like it. I mean, I think that everybody's watching to see that now that Stephon Diggs is gone. How about that? Can we all agree on that? Everybody is looking to watch to see how he responds and how the offense responds. So I think that is something that everybody's going to be keeping an eye on across the league because we've got a superstar at QB1. So I really appreciate everybody joining in tonight. Over 500 people, almost 600 people watching us on all the different platforms. We really appreciate you joining us tonight. Listen, Justus, our resident JA17 truther, the torch bearer. We really appreciate you joining us tonight, man. As always, and sharing some of your time, man. DT, I mean, we got smacked up tonight because Justus says everything. I mean, what are you guys talking about? Everything's fine.
We'll see what happens when the season starts.
It may be, and it may be.
I'd like the overall vibe. I liked it, Justus, tonight because I think the overall vibe needs to be, it was optimism, and then preseason kind of set in with people thought reality a little bit, and there's definitely some negativity around, especially circles, I'm in, and group chats I'm in, there's negativity around, and going to be a long year. We're just going to have to grin and bear it. So right. I like the optimism. I'm the optimist guy. I like Justus coming in with the optimism. I don't know if I'm as far in as he is on some topics, but I definitely like the optimism there. And I think as a whole, as a fan base, as Nickel City and a Mafia, we need to move. We still haven't kicked yet. So we can be optimistic, but we have to be realistic. But let's start getting pumped up and be, we do got 1-7. So let's fucking go. We do have 1-7. So there are some other factors, but let's buckle in. We got them. I'm not scared of anybody in the league. Let's fucking go. We got 1-7.
I'm excited. This is going to be one of the first years in a long
that's
time.
Where I'm at.
I'm not just waiting for the playoffs. So I'll enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy the season a little bit differently.
You're going to be just waiting for the playoffs.
I made my pledge and I'm going to do my best because
when it's week 8, I don't even know 6-7-1. You're going to be all right.
If we are at week 8 and we're 7-1, you need to come back on the show just to be able to gloat.
Oh, I'm going to be on the show week 4 when we no. I told you.
Yeah, wow, that would be amazing. We got a gauntlet, so that would be amazing with the quarterbacks that we play. So we'll see. As always, out there, spread love, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit them with the Go Bills, Justus. Hit them with the Go Bills, DT. I appreciate y'all tonight, man.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. I love it.